What is the greatest love story of all time? We could say the story of Adam and Eve, which the Kabbalists describe as the story of humanity, the Jewish people and humanity, or it describes also as the relationship between God and humanity. We have to understand that it's all connected. It's one big love story. God created humanity and Adam Arishon, which represents all the souls of humanity, divine souls, and had intention to marry us, so to speak, to have a relationship, to have an experience on a level that we cannot really understand. We'll only understand in Olam Haba. But we can have a sense here from our relationship, from experiencing love, marriage, originally, says Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan, there was supposed to be only just one nation on earth, one big nation from Adam Arishon called Israel. And that was supposed to be God, the husband, Israel, the wife. And that would have been a beautiful, never-ending love story. But Adam Arishon, the wife, the feminine energy in the world, was not in love with itself. There's a reason why we don't say just love people. Say love people like you love yourself. It starts with yourself. You can't love yourself, you won't love others. And so, God saw that Adam didn't love himself enough, didn't understand his value, his beauty. So, he had to split him in half and make him experience what it is to love oneself. So he took part of him, he took that female energy, that part of himself that he looked as more perhaps weak or more physical, more animalistic perhaps even, in comparison, especially in comparison to God. Who am I to love God? How can I love God? I'm a human being of flesh and blood. I go to the bathroom, I do disgusting things. I'm gonna be God's husband or wife? That sounds insane. It is in fact insane, but it's amazing because it's possible. I mean, what's the point of living if we're not experiencing the most crazy, insane experience in the world of human beings becoming one with God? It's the greatest science fiction story ever created in the world. But it's a science fiction that it's not fiction. That's the best part of it. It's all going to become real one day. And so God split Adam and Eve. And Adam and Eve, so Adam is supposed to learn how to love the part of himself. If you learn to love part of yourself, you will understand how you can love Hashem, because you're part of him. So now Adam was supposed to love Eve and see her beauty, so that then he will be able to see the beauty in himself and his relation with God as a female energy. But what happened? He failed. He didn't see that in Eve enough, at least. And the snake came and messed things around. When you don't truly love a woman, you don't see her beauty. Sneaky people come, the Yetzer Hara, the snakes, and we look elsewhere. So what happened is that there was another split. Now it was not going to be just Adam and Eve. It was going to be the Jewish people and humanity. Adam and Eve became, so to speak, the symbol of the Jewish people and humanity. And the Jewish people, so we're talking that Jewish people and humanity is Adam, which are technically are all female in relationship to God, supposed to love God. So what happened? Meaning Adam and Eve was an individual, so to speak. Now he was on a global, on a national level, on a international level. With Israel was supposed to play the role of the male energy of Adam, and the non-Jewish nation as Eve, as the female. And therefore, what comes from that is that the Jewish people have to fall in love with the nations. Now, what happens when we don't fall in love with the nations? Now, I'm saying fall in love with the nation on the national, on a intellectual level. I'm not saying, obviously, that, as we're going to see soon from the son from Rav Kook, no, actually not from Rav Kook himself. In Midot HaRia, he's going to explain that obviously we don't marry them because we have to stay the man, and that's to stay the woman. If I marry them and become like them, so to speak, and I lose my identity as Israel and them as the nation. Adam has to stay Adam, Eve has to stay Eve. We have to become one, but stay ourselves. So how does it work? We're supposed to fall in love with them. If we don't fall in love with them, what happens? Sneaky people, the snake start coming in. Who is a snake? The snake is the smartest of all the animals. The snake is that creature that looks like a human being. It's not a divine soul. There are people in this world that come from the snake, so to speak, and the snake energy. And they look human being like you and me, but they are very smart and very powerful. It says the snake was supposed to be the great servant of Adam, but instead it turned against him because it was jealous of that love relationship. And the moment we don't show true love relationship, then we're stuck. And that's those sneaky people, which we're going to call the leaders, really. Some people call them the Erev Rav, some people call them, but I wouldn't say it's the Erev Rav. It's really an energy, the leaders, the evil leaders, like Paro, or Nebuchadnezzar, or Sanherib, or all the big leaders who are still here today, trying to create hatred between the Jews and the non-Jews. Those sneaky leaders are trying to destroy any possibilities of love between Jews and non-Jews. They have infiltrated, because that was part of Nimrod, to mix up everyone, nobody knowing who they are, what's their role, mixing all the nations, and they're infiltrated. That's one of the things that Power did, actually. It sent people, the Arab, to confuse the Jews and in the desert, and to bring them back, to make them fail. So they are here to confuse and destroy, make us. So they infiltrate and they create wars, right, in the name of those nations, as if it was the nation themselves who wanted to destroy and kill the Jews. It's not. The nations don't want to kill the Jews. There were times where the nation admired the Jews, in time of the first temple with King Solomon. King Solomon was married to 1,000 women. Obviously, he was not physically intimate with them, but it was a marriage that represented, he was married to princesses and queen, or princesses of all nations, to create that Adam Arishon, again, Adam and Eve relationship, that harmony, unity in the world, to all together serve God. That was the goal of the Beis Hamikdash. That all the nations of the world with the Jewish people will come to Jerusalem on Sukkot and praise God, the ultimate husband of the world. And what happened? Those leaders were very successful. Now the Jewish people hate non-Jews in general because they are scared because of all the crusades, the Holocaust, and all the bad things that the sneaky people have done. But because we're not necessarily very aware of the bigger picture, then we say those are nations. All nations are evil, and they tempt us, and we're gonna fall, and it's dangerous. So we've got to stay disconnected. They're impure, and we're pure, and we're the Jewish people, and it starts to have a disconnect where Adam doesn't see any more love of Chava. He says, "Oh, Chava, she pushed me to sin. She's the one who gave me the fruit, the forbidden fruit." Well, really, it was the snake that infiltrated Eve's mind to think that way. The leaders, evil leaders in the media, the Baal, the Nimrods, infiltrated the non-Jewish nation to make the Jewish people fall and tempt them to eat from the forbidden fruit, which is the pure physicality for the sake of physicality. And that's why the nations fell a lot into physicality, and the Jewish people say, "Oh, look, they're all interested only in materiality and physical stuff. It's all superficial. They're not interested in spirituality. Therefore, we shouldn't connect to them." The truth is, if you look around now, thanks to the internet, we see how many millions of non-Jews are extremely spiritual, are extremely beautiful, have tremendous amount of qualities, who wants to be close to God and love Israel also. So Israel has to go out of its shell, of its defense, even though there's reason to feel that way, but understand that that's not the essence of who the nations are. So we need to change our perspective. Time now is come before Moshiach. This is part of the Moshiach process, to change the way we look at things. Rav Yaakov Weinberg Zatzal says that why are we Jewish? Why are we Jewish? The purpose of the Jewish people, of the nation, of the Jewish nation, is for all of mankind. He says, if you look at the Rosh Hashanah Machzor, you will see that the whole prayer of Rosh Hashanah is for all of mankind. The prayer is that God should be manifest through all of humanity. We pray during Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, two of the most greatest holiday of the year, to achieve the ultimate meaning that being a Jew is for all of mankind. And that the reason we are in exile is for us to reach all of mankind. This is why we're in exile. This is why God sent the Jewish people all over the world. To bring people, the Jewish souls back to start, and to inspire the non-Jews, but also to see the beauty of all the nations. There are 70 nations. They have 7 Noachide laws, correspond to the rainbow. Rainbow is beautiful. 7 colors. There are 7 notes of music. The menorah is 7. It's all connected. We're supposed to see the beauty of the colors. We're supposed to see the quality that each nation has. There's 70 facets of the Torah. Why 17 facets of the Torah? Why the number 70? Because obviously it's connected to the 70 nation. Because each nation is, as if to say, a part of the Torah. It reflects one of the qualities. So let's say, for example, there is architecture in the Torah. Let's say with or let's put it like art, right? Art. So one of the great things of art were the Greeks, right? The beauty, the structure, the form, the beauty of the form. And we know we can write even the Sefer Torah in Greek, says the Gemara. Only 2 languages, Hebrew and Greek. And would be technically a valid Sefer Torah if it was done the proper way. Because there's so much beauty in it. And that beauty comes from the Torah itself. Those 70 nations, those 70 qualities are all qualities that come from the Torah. So the 70 facets of Torah enables us to see all the qualities of all the facets of the diamond. And when it's all together, when we see the whole big picture, then we see the whole big diamond. That's the purpose of the Jewish people. The Jewish people is take that raw diamond and cuts all those 70 things and see its beauty. He's not even the one who cuts it. Every nation has to cut himself that facet. But he's the one that is able to look into the diamond and appreciate all the colors of all those 70 nations. We Jewish people should be able to see the diamond's value. That's maybe why we call Jew, because jewelry. And why the Jewish people are so much into the diamond business. Because there's no coincidence, my friend. We think it's coincidence. Oh yeah, it happens, money, Jews, diamond. No, it's because of that. Because we're supposed to be the ones able to recognize the beauty in the world, the beauty in the diamond of the facets. So we understand that this is why I want to add that and it's a big, and Rav Yaakov Weinberg Zatzal, he says it is in fact the Jewish factor in history which is the methodology by which the non-Jew will learn to know about God. We Jews were supposed to allow those 70 nations, allow Eve to see the beauty of Hashem. Before the ultimate purpose, that female energy, right, that was in Adam, that he was not able to use to become God's wife, because he felt too low. We have to give self-esteem to the nations in a way. We have to give love to the wife who might not feel worthy to be my spouse. And when the wife doesn't feel worthy, she's gonna try to experience physicality. The nations are craving spirituality, and we see more and more nowadays with all those meditations, but they can't find it. So instead, some do find it, but they go into places that are not necessarily proper, whether it's Avodah, Buddhism, or all the types of spiritual things, which some of it is perhaps good, but it doesn't let them go to the true essence to God, basically. So therefore, it's a bit, it doesn't work. Therefore, the ultimate purpose of a Jewish life is that the Gentile will do. And when we say Ve'haya bayom hahu Hashem echad u'shemo echad, and we come to be on that day, when we say Nalenu, that God will be one and His name will be one, which is the meaning of a Jewish existence, which is the level that the Goyim non-Jews will reach. This is what we do. The non-Jews were all going to say Hashem echad u'shemo echad. You can't talk of non-Jews as second-class citizens. What does Rabbi Yaakov Weinberg say as second-class citizen? Who do we call second-class citizen until not too long ago? Then women. They were treated as second-class citizen, and that's terrible. It's because we have to bring back that female energy, that womanhood, that chava, the nations, to first class. Men and women are supposed to be in the same class. This is one reason there's a feminist movement, that whole awakening of the female energy in the world, more than ever before in history, because we're coming to the end. And therefore the Torah is for mankind. It is the mankind that requires the Jew. The Ramchal says in his Mama on Rosh Hashanah that the Goyim, non-Jews, should pray that the Jews should succeed in their mission with them. Because it's like a woman praying for that her husband should be able to love her properly, to help her become the great woman that she can be. And this is our prayers and our mitzvahs, that we will come closest to bring God's knowledge to the nations of the world. So there's no such a thing as a goy, as a nation, as a non-Jew, as a second class. The goy, the non-Jew, says Rabbi Yaakov Weinberg, is the purpose of creation. Because the purpose of creation is not the Jew. The purpose of creation is Adam and God. And Adam is the Jew and the non-Jew. It's Adam and Eve, not just Adam. It's the male and female energy in Adam that needs to become one with God. And all the dinim and halachos are to be understood in this context. We Jews are supposed to be Jews. Unfortunately, we have a terrible flaw. We are human, and that affects us a lot, of course. And a lot of Jews, unfortunately, want to become non-Jews. That's why we say Shiloh Asani Go every day, to make sure they don't fall into the trap. Or say Shiloh Asani Isha, because they're going to want to be a woman. We always want to be what the other is. Right? No, you have to be who you are. You have to be a Jew and a male, a giver for the nation, an enlightener, a teacher, an inspiration, a light, or lagoim. But for that, you have to fall in love with the nation. So this is where I want to bring from Rav Kook. First of all, I want to bring from his son, what his son says. Well, actually, I have to share. Yeah. He says like that. In Midat HaRiyah, we find the edifying guidance that the heart must be filled with love for all of the world, for all people, for every man, for all humankind. In the Torah, there is a precept to love your neighbor like yourself. Rabbi Akiva stated that this is a great principle in Torah. This is all of the Torah. All of Torah revolves around to love for mankind. But obviously, there are different levels of love. So the Ari says like that. The Arizal wrote, Chaim Vital wrote from the Arizal in Shari Kedusha on how to achieve Ruach Kodesh. And there it says how to achieve Ruach Kodesh, you need to fulfill Ve'ahavta L'reacha Kamocha. And this is a precept which concerns the love of every Jew, a precept which encompasses all the Torah. But to achieve Ruach HaKodesh, and that's Shari Kedusha, that's the Arizal, one must even love the Gentile peoples, the non-Jew, the 70 nations. You're allowed to hate the evil in the world, but don't associate the evil with the nations. That's a danger. That's what the leaders or whatever have managed to do, to make us hate whoever is not our nation. And the same thing for every nation. So we need to, in the writing of Chaim Vital, we find something in common with Harav Abba Zatzal, the advice and the teaching to accustom oneself and to fill one's heart and soul with the love for all of mankind, with a love for every man. Rav Abba, I believe, is from the Be'er, I think Gematria Be'er. I don't see the exact source here, but that's why it seems to be. So, let's continue. I know I'm going a bit slow, but it's so important. It's like essential. Now, he says very clearly, this ahava of all nations doesn't nullify all the halachos which set precise rules over our relationship with Gentiles. Rav Tzvi Yehuda stressed, laws forbidding intermarriage or even the drinking of non-Jewish wine or the eating of non-kosher food must always be strictly enforced. The ahava of Gentile people does not contradict the different lifestyle which the Torah prescribed for Am Yisrael, right? Because we have to stay the Jewish people. and each one has to know its place and its mission. Rather, all those rules well, it says, for Am is prescribed in the Torah that Am Israel, it is a people who shall dwell alone and shall not be reckoned among the nations. Rather, it teaches a love for all people, even though there are clear halachic boundaries we have to be maintained. So I have to love Chava, but not that I have to become Chava. Because if I become non-Jewish, then I'm not Adam anymore, I am Chava, and Chava has to stay Chava, and Adam has to stay Adam. I believe this is one of the reasons for the confusion of gender now in our generation. That mix between Adam and Eve, male, female. Everybody doesn't know who he is, trying to figure out its gender energy and its place in the world. Now, so it's okay, that's important. Does this all-encompassing Ahava also include the haters of Israel? Rav Tzvi Yehuda answered that this father's teaching implied that it did. Right? But in relation to extraordinary evil people, there is room to direct hate against the aspect of evil in them. We know we have to hate evil in the world, not the people themselves. If you take all the people descend from Adam, as you look at them all as children, they're all good. There's no evil aspect to them. It's the evil that entered them, the poison of the snake, the leaders. In relation to extraordinary evil people, there's room, therefore, to direct hate against the aspect of the evil in them. But the general rule is a love for each and every nation and people. Now, so here it goes into a little bit deeper about how to fall in love with the non-Jewish nations, not their women. Fall in love with the nations, not with their women. Okay, that's the trick. So true Ahava seeks to advance people's spiritual and material well-being. So if I truly love someone, I want them to grow and to become great. One must love all of the upright Gentiles and wish that all of their spiritual, material, cultural, and ethical endeavors reach fulfillment. We should pray for them. So here, this is the part I want to read from Rav Avraham Yitzchak HaKohen Kook in Midot Hariya, Ahava, number 10. The Ahava of mankind requires substantial effort in order to attain its appropriate station of constantly feeling every aspect of life. This comes in opposition to the superficial view which arises at first glance upon a cursory investigation of Torah and conventional ethics, which seem contradictory to this Ahava, or at best apathetic to it. The most exact level of Ahava, of love for mankind, must encompass the love of the individual and includes every person regardless of all of the differences of religion and belief, race and local. One must endeavor to understand fully the mentalities of the various peoples and communities, to study as thoroughly as possible the characteristics and attributes in order to know how to base human love on practical foundations. How are you going to love the nations if you don't learn to appreciate their music? Obviously you have to filter, you have to be careful, you have to be smart. You can't just go like that and experience everything. You have to find the good in it. Like in every person has good in it. You have to find the good in it. Just like Rabbi Nachman of Breslov says, how do you get to love someone? You find the part of him that is good. There's always a part of that person that is good. Nations, each of the 17 nations have something that is good in them. Find it, the beauty. Find what's their quality. This is what a man has to do with a woman. Find the beauty in your wife. You need to fall in love with your wife, your woman. By doing this, we emulate God, who sees the beauty. When Rabbi Nachman says to love someone, you have to find there's a piece of good in them. We are, so to speak, as Jews, we are Am Segula, represent the good in all the nations. So God is loving the nation through us, so to speak, by seeing that we are that purity, that essence of the good of all the nations, then that will spread all over the nations, when all the nations will be one with Israel. So we have to emulate that, what God is doing, to see those lights in every nation. We are all going. We're supposed to send the light and see the reflection of that light in each one of them, how each one reflects the beauty of who they are. Obviously, you have to, again, like I say, we have to be careful, because not everything is holy, not every music is holy, not every art is healthy, not every, things can be used for good or bad. Internet can be terrible, it can be very good. Used for Torah, it can be for pornography or, bad stuff. So we have to be careful. There's a reason why the dark web is called dark and not the light web. So on one side, there's Torah anytime, this Kedusha, tremendous light, spreading Torah light all over the world, and the other side, this dark web. Right? This is the forces opposite. Only a person rich in ahava for mankind and for each individual man, says Rav Kook, can attain a love for his own nation in its most noble dimension and for its spiritual and material grandeur. If you're not gonna see love in them, how are you gonna do the same work in your own nation? It's like saying, the same way you're going to love others, I'm going to love myself. Sometimes we find it easier to love others. Oh, I love you, but we don't love ourselves. Here it's like the reverse. You know how I'm going to love myself? The way I love them. It will be like your love when you're able to love them. So a big twist in the pasuk, we could say. So only if I'm able to be rich in ahava for mankind and for each individual man, that's the training, can I attain a love for his own nation in its most noble dimension and for its spiritual and material grandeur. Only if I truly learn to love my wife, to love the woman, will I be able to love myself. Because truly the wife is part of myself. This is why God gave us Eve. You obviously don't love yourself, Adam. I'm giving you something outside of you so that you love it, learn to love it. Then that's you love yourself. Then you do the same with mankind. That's what we do with mankind. Mankind, the wife of the Jewish people, the female energy of the Jewish people, the Eve of the Jewish people. The myopic vision, which views everything outside the boundaries of a particular nation, even that which is outside the boundaries of Israel, as ugly and impure, is a part of the awful darkness which causes the utter destruction of the universal spiritual goodness which every sensitive soul longs to see. So we're saying that because of the way the sneaky people, the dangerous, the forces of evil are doing everything that we see outside ourselves is not as holy, is not good, and is dangerous, it's a threat, right? And so people don't get married, and people don't love their wife as much as they love themselves. I'm on survival mode. It's all about me. We become egoistic. If I get married, I'm gonna lose myself. I'm not gonna be myself anymore. So we have to understand that tremendous lesson. That tremendous lesson that we have to love humanity. We have to uplift humanity. I'll finish with that one thing that Rav Dinovich says. Chaim Dinovich says that What's Am Segula? Am Segula. What's a Segula? When there's a problem, you go to you make a Segula. You have a Segula to fix it. A system that enables you to, in a way, a treasured way to bring the good, to have everything change. Israel is Am Segula, but Am Segula for who? Israel is the Segula for God. It's God's Segula for the nation of the world. Hashem is using Israel as Am Segula to be able to elevate the non-Jewish people. It's the medicine, it's the cure, it's the magical thing, so to speak, although it's not magic, that will enable the nations to be transformed into good. And so this is who we are. We are meant to be that Segula for the non-Jewish world, that treasure that the non-Jewish world can use, or that God can use, goes both ways, in order to change and elevate themselves and become one with God. That's the goal of the Segula, to be attached to God, to reconnect to God. This is what we are about. So this is what I want to share with you. I speak a lot about it lately, but I felt this time was even a bit of a different twist, or a deeper twist, because the world is really changing, and that's really the avodah of the day. We have to learn to love our spouse, to see the beauty of spouse, to see the beauty in our spouses, to fall in love again. The new Jewish people have to fall in love with the nations and see the beauty and be able to differentiate between good and evil, but not to put the whole the whole thing in the garbage, because it's there's a threat. It's not that simple. That's not who the Jewish people are supposed to be, at least. God willing, may we all fall in love, increase our love, and God willing, be all celebrate together as one, and recognize God's unity in the Beis Hamikdash this year, hopefully, this year. Love you all.